Managing an Investment Bank Process, the Warren Fox Group. Course breakdown. This course has 3 classes. Class 1 was winning client mandates, Class 2 is deal launch preparation, and Class 3 will cover go-to-market. Deal launch preparation. During this class, the Warren Fox Group will cover the below topics: engagement kickoff, key work streams for launch, developing a buyer's list, preparing a virtual data room, or VDR. This is lesson 1 of class 2. In this lesson, we will review the basics of the kickoff meeting, how to assemble the kickoff meeting presentation materials. Background. Following the execution of an EL, the bank will transition the client's mandate from the origination phase to the execution phase. The bank will assemble a deal team that will be dedicated to deal execution. After the deal team members receive the staffing email, some of the first steps will be create an email distribution list, create an internal projects folder for file retention and organization, create a Dropbox for the client, schedule official kickoff meeting with the client. Kickoff meeting. One of the first steps following the execution of the EL is to schedule a kickoff meeting with the client. The kickoff meeting is the first official connection point between the deal team and the engaged client. The goal of the meeting is to introduce the team members from both parties, assign roles and responsibilities of each team member, reaffirm the goals of the engagement, set timeline expectations, share contact information and guidelines around contact methodologies, discuss immediate next steps. Presentation materials. The junior banks will begin curating the kickoff meeting presentation materials. The kickoff deck will likely include these 4 sections. Section 1, executive summary. Section 2, timeline expectations. Section 3, initial due diligence request. And Section 4, working group list, or WGL. Section 1, executive summary. This section will likely be comprised of the below slides. Review of the client mandate. Summarizes the client mandate understood by both parties and the procedures outlined in the engagement letter. Introduction of the deal team. Introduces the deal team members that will be working on this particular deal from partner to analyst. This page will likely be organized with headshots of the deal team members alongside with their name, title, and years of experience, and a Harvey Balls graph to depict each individual's roles and responsibility throughout the deal. Introduction of the potential investors. Introduces potential investors and investor categories. This slide will likely organize investor logos into buckets and denote investors and investor categories. The investor buckets will usually be broken down into financial and strategic investors. From there, the buckets can be broken down even further into early stage investors or buyout investors. In banking, these types of pages are known as splash pages. Section 2, timeline expectations. This section will be comprised of the below slide. The timeline slide. This introduces the preliminary timing guidelines for each step of the engagement. The timeline will usually be depicted as a graph, with the x-axis being the key, with the time being the x-axis and the key objectives being on the y-axis. Clients can be very sensitive to this slide, especially if the client is cash burdened. For example, the client might be raising capital to fund a burn, which is causing the current cash depletion. Therefore, it is important to set and align timing expectations around deal execution so the client can assess future business plans without running out of money. This slide is also important because this might be the first time the client is engaging an investment bank and is unaware of the complexities of the deals and the details involved in the capital markets process. Also, the bank is setting expectations, and the client will likely hold the bank to those expectations. Section 3, initial due diligence requests. This section will be comprised of the below slide, the due diligence list. Introduces the client to the essential data requests necessary for the practitioners to bring the market to deal. This page is usually a pasted Excel output of the due diligence request list, which the bankers will provide the client following the kickoff meeting, if they have not already. Bankers typically prefer to send the official due diligence list following the kickoff meeting because the list can be daunting. Some of the main pieces of diligence are corporate documents, such as company charters, company bylaws, and past financing agreements. Financials, such as year-end audited financial statements, past tax documents, and the current financial model. People and organizational documents, such as a corporate organizational chart, an employee organizational chart, a current capitalization chart, management biographies, and employment documents for key management members. Contractual obligations, such as vendor contracts and client contracts. Technology documents, such as domain names, intellectual property patents, the documentation outlining the client's technology stack, and other auxiliary items. These can be client-approved logos, fonts, and color palettes. Section 4, working group list. The WGL section will mainly be comprised of the working group list. Introduces all members of the deal team from the bank side and the members that'll be working on the deal from the client side. The slide or slides will be broken down by client personnel and bank personnel. The slides will have the names, positions, emails, phone numbers of all the individuals who will be participating in the deal. This slide will also provide any special communications instructions. Capital markets processes need to be handled with discretion and in some cases anonymity. Therefore, it is important to always remember communication rules set by the client and always utilize code project names. The working group list could also include third-party members, such as legal or tax advisors who will be assisting on the deal. Thank you for tuning into this lesson, and we look forward to seeing you at our next lesson, which will cover key work streams for launch.